One thing your favorite YouTubers will never tell you is how fucking hot these lights are. Like, I am sweating. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, welcome, subscribe, it's free. I just want to say I just want to say thank you for all the love and support I've been getting recently. I've only kind of recently started uploading consistently, so I do really appreciate you guys commenting and liking my videos, even though they're not like the best quality ever right now, but I do really appreciate you guys. Like, I want to start doing like a comment of the week or something, because your comments do really help me, and I always get so excited when I see a notification of someone commenting on one of my videos saying that they enjoyed what I put out there, so it really gives me a boost. So today I'll be doing 2 comments, because these 2 people always comment on my stuff. Like, for the past 2-3 weeks, they've been really encouraging, and yeah, appreciate you. So anyway, today's story I'll be splitting them into 2 stories because they're 2 separate ones, but they were both kind of too short to make one video on, so.
Hi, so this is Annie of the future, and I'm currently editing the first story, and I realise it's like 15 minutes long, so yeah, I guess I ramble a lot, so it's just gonna be one story today after all. Okay, bye.
Today I'll be talking about my unlucky experiences, I guess, that I keep having at airports. And the thing is, I travel a lot. Jet set life is so hard. No, but like, as you can probably tell, I'm very mixed race, and the thing is, I have like family all over the world. So my mum is from Croatia, so we go to Croatia quite a lot. My father lives in Switzerland, and that's where I'm staying right now for my year abroad, and I study in England, so I'm always kind of jumping between countries. So the first story happened on a flight back from Croatia, and I was traveling alone because my mum decided she wanted to stay a bit longer, but I had to go back to school. At this point I was about 17, 18, so it wasn't a big deal traveling by myself. I'd done it thousands of, well, maybe not thousands, like a dozen times before. So everything was great. I was going through security, loving life. And here's the thing, I have a real pet hate. I have an issue with people who decide they don't want to sit in their allocated seat. So some people decide they want to sit in a window seat and they pay extra for it. Like, fair enough, like, it's stupid, but I'm one of those people. I just like being able to look out the window, and I only kind of do it when it's pretty cheap, like £5-10 extra is not a big deal to me. My biggest pet hate is when you've paid for that specific seat, you walk down the aisle, put your luggage away, you turn to where you think your seat is, and someone's already sat in it. Like, that person knows that that's not their seat, and I was one of the last people to board the plane, so they probably thought that that seat was empty, but still, like, people are still boarding the plane. Like, what I tend to do is I wait till we take off, that I know for sure that that seat's free, and then I move over. This lady wasn't doing that, so it wasn't a big deal. So I just went up to her, looked at my ticket, and I said in English, oh, like, are you seat da-da-da, saying my seat? And she kind of at this point she realized she kind of been like rumbled or whatever, and she needed to move over. But instead of apologizing or, I don't know, just being friendly because you are sitting in my seat that I paid for, she does an audible sigh. Ugh. Now, this middle-aged lady is acting like a toddler, and I realized that her husband is sat next to her in the middle seat. He obviously has to get up, then she has to get up, so I can get into my seat. As she's getting up, I can kind of hear her mumbling something, but I don't really pay attention. I had like one earphone in, so I just didn't really pay any mind to it. Got in my window seat, was having a great time. We finally take off, and I get that it's warm, we're coming from a warm country, but why not wear deodorant? Like, I could just feel this stench assaulting my nose, like my eyes were watering, and I realized it was the lady next to me. I just kind of like picked the short straw with sitting next to her. Now, there's a lot of things that annoy me on airplanes, like when the person in the middle decides to take up both of the armrests, like her arms were kind of bulging into my seat as well, which... So after a while of flying, I kind of decided to take my earphones out, have something to eat, get a sandwich from one of the stewardesses, and I hear the lady's conversation next to me. So the thing is, I by no means look Croatian, but my mum is, and that's the only language we speak at home. So as I'm ordering my airplane delicacy, English is kind of like my default language, so I just kind of ordered it in English. And this lady next to me seems to have a problem with the language that I'm using. Ako ljudi kao ona dolaze u Hrvatsku da ljetovaju, onda bi trebale isto naučiti kako se priča hrvatski. Now, I'm a bit taken aback. Obviously, she's assuming that I can't speak Croatian because Croatians just don't look like me. It's a very predominantly white country, like most Eastern European countries, but let me assure you, I can understand you. That ruined my eating experience that I was so looking forward to. Because the whole time, like, I'm assuming she's been talking about me the whole flight because she just wouldn't let up. And the person next to her, her husband, was just kind of like, pazi šta kažeš, jel ti ne znaš ko nas tu može razumjeti? Which is true, like, it was a flight going from Croatia, so I'd say, like, I don't know, if I had to do an educated guess, like half of the people flying were Croatian. And she kind of laughed and she was like, misliš da ona može hrvatski pričati, pogledaj je, izgleda kao majmunica. That's when I like stopped mid-chew and I was like genuinely my head swiveled around. And at this point, this woman is like on a full-on like racial rant. And she doesn't care who's able to hear. I'll spare you the details, but it was basically like, it was the kind of ignorant stuff you just, I don't know, hear old people saying. Obviously it's not an excuse, but you know. And the monkey comment kind of triggered me. So at this point my phone had died, so I was kind of left to listen to this woman rant about me and people like me. And after being called a monkey 2-3 times, I decided enough is enough, like, and I turned to her. Ova majmunica zapravo može pričati hrvatski I ja vas razumijem. And the reaction that I got from her is the reaction I get a lot in Croatia as well when I do speak Croatian. The look of awe, surprise, and then the look of just being horrified. Because the thing is, like, in general, I get talked about, not talked to. So when I'm, I don't know, in line at the supermarket with my mum, I'll add something to her cart or whatever at the till. And the lady most of the time will just separate our items because she doesn't think we're together. She doesn't think we're mother and daughter. So, or when I'm trying to buy something and my mum's standing next to me but I'm paying for it, the supermarket lady will always speak to my mum like, oh, it's this and this much. And I'll just be like, okay, like, she doesn't have, like, I can understand. But anyway, like, I get it. There's not a lot of racial diversity, so they just assume I'm a tourist, but whatever. Anyway, so this lady is horrified, and I look over to the husband, and he is pale. He is pale as a sheet, and he just starts apologizing to me. Like, he was an actual nice guy. Like, Greg, you were good. I'm calling Greg. Greg was really nice. He apologized profusely in Croatian and broken English, but again, like, I can speak Croatian. Like, that's another thing. People, you'll speak in Croatian and they'll just speak English back to you. So this gets the attention of the stewardess and she comes over and, you know, she goes, oh, is everything okay here? Like, I turn to her and I go, not really, no. This woman has been having a racially charged rant for the past hour and a half and I don't feel comfortable sitting next to her. Again, like, I go back to my English language. I don't know why, it's just a default. And the stewardess again was speaking English to me as well. She was just apologizing. She's like, oh, like, I'm really sorry about that. Like, how do you want me to go forward with this? Like, do you want to be moved? Blah, blah. And as we're having this conversation, the lady again, I don't even want to call her a lady, this woman proceeds to just slip back into her rant. Mi smo u Hrvatskoj, tu se priča hrvatski. We were in the air, we were not in Croatia. I don't know why that was an issue for her if we weren't speaking Croatian. The stewardess was actually Croatian as well, so she understood what the woman had said. And she goes, gospođo, zapravo letimo sada preko Italije. And I could tell the stewardess was just like salty. Like she'd only spent like 10 seconds near this woman and she was already pissed off with her. The stewardess goes, obviously, like, it's a he said, she said situation. Like, you can't prove that she said anything racially insensitive to you unless you've had a witness or anything like that. When we land, you can make a report, you can make a complaint to the airline, but unfortunately there's not much we can do. And that's when a lady behind me actually kind of like stood up and she was like, actually, I heard everything this lady was saying about this girl, and I'll be her witness because it's not okay. Like, me and my husband, we were offended, and like, she was white, like, we were offended by what she was saying and we were disturbed by her comments. So like, keeping in mind, I only got like 10% of what the lady had been talking about me this whole time because I had my earphones in. So quite honestly, I didn't even want to know what she'd been saying about me the whole flight, but apparently it disturbed other people on the flight. So the stewardess went to the captain and I didn't really know what was happening at this point. I got moved to like a seat further down, so I had like a window seat again, which is fine. So I think everything's kind of like done with. I don't know, it's a good story to tell on the internet. We land and we get told to stay seated. So I didn't really think anything of it. I just assumed that we were in line to get out or something in front of another plane. And that's when I see the police or airport police. I don't really know if they're like different, but they were in uniform and they come onto our plane and they walk up to my old seat. The lady had moved back into my seat, the window seat, and the police went and got her. So she literally got detained by the police and she got escorted, and then like 10-15 minutes later we were all allowed to disembark. And as I was leaving, there was like an agent waiting for me and he was just like, hey, like, we're really sorry this happened to you. We obviously don't want you to think that we tolerate this on our airline. If you want to file a complaint, you can come with me to the office right now. There's already a lady here who said she'll vouch for what happened, and you know, we just removed her off the plane, so there was no kind of like further interaction between you two to make things worse. And props to like you guys, because you know, they actually cared. Like, they cared for my feelings and what was gonna happen to me. I should have pursued it, but at this point I was kind of embarrassed. Like, the whole flight kind of had to wait because of me and was delayed by like half an hour. But yeah, at this point I was still very non-confrontational and I just wanted to go home, you know. I should have pursued it, but I was just like, thank you very much, but quite honestly, I just want to go home and leave it at that. So that's what I did. And through the minuscule chance of this lady seeing this video, fuck you, Greg, you're okay. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you next week.